Hey, good morning everybody. Vic here for Short Axe. Today is, let's see, it's that Super Bowl Sunday thing. And years past, I was a huge fan. We'd have the food layout and the friends and be watching the big game and listening to all the hype. Unfortunately, I don't support the NFL at all anymore, and nor will I again until the players decide that it's a game and release their control of the NFL. And briefly, I can tell you why I've reached this conclusion. I've been kind of waiting to see if this would die down, if the NFL would grow a brain and decide that in the interest of business, this is not a good thing, and the interest of the game maybe wouldn't be a good thing, and they would stop this. But it doesn't appear they're going to. And I think the main reason here is that the players actually own the NFL now. So they call the shots. The Players Association calls the shots. The owners are just the piggy banks from which they reap rewards. I think the players have forgotten that it's a game and they're players and that it's entertainment. They've completely lost track of that. And the NFL commissioner and the Players Association supports all this. The owners don't have a lot to do with it. The owners are kind of told what to do. And I think the owners don't want to really push back. And that's too bad. I think we need poor people of values. I think the thing that really bothered me the most was when the owner of the Cowboys took a knee in the middle of the field with them. And that was pretty much it for me. Then I realized at that point that the owners weren't going to do anything about it, nor could they. They're handcuffed by the Players Association, the contracts, and the union. So the players call the shots. They're going to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what to believe, what not to believe. All in the fact that it's originally a business and entertainment, which is really the reason that I didn't like it in the beginning. All started with Colin Kaepernick with the Whiners. Let me get this back. This is a team that I really supported when I lived in the Bay Area behind enemy lines there in California, which I don't and won't anymore. But that said, I really supported the team, even though they were pretty much assholes and arrogant people, and ran into their GM once, and that was enough for me. But that beside it, I love the game. The game is, pretty uniquely American, and was raised around it. I mean, since I was a kid, I remember being around the room at Super Bowl or watching the games. But for me, that's all gone. The game, as it was, doesn't exist except at the college level and maybe high school play. That's, I think, where it lies. The worst part is that I think the college players start to mimic, even the high school players start to mimic their heroes, NFL players, who are basically thugs, most of them, and self-centered individuals that really celebrate themselves and don't celebrate the game and don't celebrate the team. Originally started with Kaepernick. I think it was over white police shooting black folks. As bad as that is, it's something that should be a topic, but not on the football field, not in the place of business. I would no sooner take that to my place of business and start talking about that with my customers. I would very soon not have a job. And why? Because I don't have a players union. They do. I think the football, the American game of football, is a game. It is entertainment. It is not vital to life, except for some, which is too bad. That aside, it's not vital to life. It's not something that we need to have to move forward. Most entertainment are pleasant diversions. They take us from everyday life and they give us something else to look at, a movie. We can go see Star Wars and suddenly we're in a TIE fighter. We can go somewhere else in the world and be exploring the jungle. I mean, all those things are possible and in the world of entertainment, and even more today than ever. But it's entertainment. It's a business. It's a for-profit business. They're not a 501(c). They are for profit. And the owners of the NFL teams, that's why they are in the business. They love the game, but it's a business to them in the end. It has to make money. It has to do something. So they need to put butts in the seats. That's most every sport that you can imagine. All of them are marketed, and they're businesses. The problem is we've forgotten that it's a business, and the players are entertainers. They're there to entertain us. They're not there to tout their ideals, to protest, to, in my opinion, disrespect. They're not there for that. They're there to entertain. Now, do I think they have the right to free speech? Absolutely. I'm as strong a constitutionalist as you will find. I believe the founding document is something we need to get back to, and personal liberty is something that we have to maintain. That said, there is nothing precluding anybody outside of where they work, where they entertain people, saying whatever they want. I may disagree with them. I may agree with them. I may like or dislike that person, but that's all up to me. But when I pay for entertainment, I expect entertainment. When players take knees in front of my national anthem, which I won't do, but if that's your right, if you want to do it, just not when you're at your place of work, not when you're there to entertain me and everybody else who buys into the cable that gets you the NFL games. So my beef is not with their right to do something. Of course they do. Just not there, not at work. I can't do it at work. Most people can't come in with their personal political interests and opinions and views and decide, well, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to talk about that with all my customers. Your boss would fire your ass in a split second. And the reason would be, keep your personal stuff away from work. That's what the NFL players have totally forgotten and don't care about anymore. And little talking heads like the folks on Fox, Terry Bradshaw for one, you're an arrogant piece of garbage. What you said about players' rights and all these players' rights, absolutely they have rights, but they don't have rights bigger than mine, and they don't have them at the place of work. So I don't see it changing. I've waited a long time to kind of see what was going to happen if people weren't going to show up. But you know what? They show up, they boo, they sit down and they cheer their team on. Now, what message are you sending? If you're going to talk the talk, then walk the walk. If you're going to boo, walk out. If you're going to be in protest, don't show up. Don't buy tickets. Don't support the team. And don't buy their garbage. Take a stand and hold the stand. That's it. The problem is that we appear to be in a society when you can boo and protest and stomp your feet and whine and do whatever else you want to do. And then the next week, you're back doing the same thing. You're back walking, you're back watching games. You're supporting whatever it is you just protested. So, unfortunately, I find a lack of spine with so many Americans. Everyone who's sitting in that seat, to me, doesn't have a spine if you booed and raised an objection to what the players are doing at work. Let's put it this way, entertainers. They don't wear uniforms, they wear costumes, okay? Our soldiers in the field wear uniforms. And the players should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. If they don't want to do anything on the field, then all you got to do is just stand there. You don't have to put your hand over your heart. You don't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance. That's your right. I would support that. But take a knee, raise a fist, raise a fist, no, you're out. I would fire your ass. The problem is the Players Association won't let them do that. So I guess I don't see an impasse. I see a spineless society that just won't do it. They won't walk the walk, but they'll talk the talk. Oh, that makes me so angry. Go Raiders! No. Have a spine. Grow a spine. Take a stand and call it good. Now, as you can see, over my left shoulder, there's the flag, and it flies here every day. That's my personal choice. It's lit up at night. That's my personal choice. You have your own rights, just not at work. I'm having this right on my personal property. I have all the right in the world. So until players or some semblance of sanity comes back to the NFL, which I don't think it will. I think it's done. I think the NFL, to me, is gone. It's toast until something really radical changes. But it's not. There's too much money involved and too much other shit. So I actually found this last remnant that I had, and it's a 40 Winers cap. And as you can see, it's in my barbecue. You can pretty much guess what's going to happen next. But I will tell you this much. My angst for the Niners is even further than this, than it started with their piece of garbage quarterback. 49ers. Now, let's go back to one point. Strong constitutional. Second Amendment? Absolutely. Shall not be infringed means exactly that. Period. There's nothing more to talk about. These clowns, after the protest and everything was in fervor, they announced they were giving $500,000 to gun control. Now, that's more than pooping in your mess kit. That's in your face. That's saying, we're not going to do that, but we're going to go after your civil rights as well, because our civil rights are more important. How mixed up are these people? I can't even imagine it. So we're going to go after the Second Amendment, one civil right, while they want to have another civil right at work. Now, you can, if you get what I get, then you do. If you don't, you never will. I wish you would, but you probably won't. I don't get super political all the time, but this just has me over a barrel, partly because my game that I grew up with has now been taken away from me. And that's too bad. I've gone back to watching all college ball. You know what? They don't take any in the NHL. And the NBA, I'll tell you what, it's not far behind than the NFL. So when the NBA starts, that's over. I'm not a big fan of basketball, but when they start it, they're done. You just don't bring shit to work. So if you put on the costume, get your ass out there and entertain me. That's what I expect you to do. So let's get up and let's light this little Niner puppy up here. I'm going to change the camera angle because you can't quite see it from there, and you might want to see this. So hang on.